Satanas Luciferi excelsi. In the name of Satan, the ruler of the earth, the king of the world, I command the forces of darkness to bestow their infernal power upon us. Open wide the gates of hell, and come forth from the abyss by these names: Satan, Lucifer, Belial, Leviathan. I drink from this chalice and partake of the elixir of ecstasy, and with this rod I place the blessings of hell upon us. Grant me the indulgences of which I speak. I have taken thy name as a part of myself. I live as the beasts of the field, rejoicing in the fleshly life. I favor the just and curse the rotten. By all the gods of the pit I command that these things of which I speak shall come to pass. Come forth and answer to your names by manifesting my desires. Oh, hear the name. Mammon,
Mammon,
Melech,
Melech,
Typhon,
Typhon,
Moloch,
Moloch,
Samael,
Samael,
Set,
Set,
Shaitan,
Shaitan,
Chort,
Short,
Loki,
Loki,
Noroni Bajiri Pasahaza Oyata, Das Harinuta Mireke Olta Hila, Dodaz Tolahame Kelsaga Homida, Das Perinu Orakane, Ware, Mikama, Yar Oyad, Aizare Toksa Dazarame Ai Balatima, Zodikario Zodamaran, Odo Zikale Qua, Zodareje, Vape Zodarejo, Noko Mada Hoatahe, Iaida. Mighty voices of my vengeance smash the stillness of the air and stand as monoliths of wrath upon a plain of writhing serpents. I am become as a monstrous machine of annihilation to the festering fragments of the body of he who would detain me. It repenteth me not that my summons doth ride upon the blasting winds which multiply the sting of my bitterness. And great black slimy shapes shall rise from brackish pits of hell and vomit forth their pustulence into his puny brain. I call upon the messengers of doom to slash with grim delight this victim I have chosen. Silent is that voiceless bird that feeds upon the brain pulp of him who hath tormented me. And the agony of the is-to-be shall sustain itself in shrieks of pain, only to serve as signals of warning to those who would resent my being. O come forth in the name of Abaddon and destroy he whose name I giveth as a sign. O great brothers of the night, thou who makest my place of comfort, who rideth out upon the hot winds of hell, who dwelleth in the devil's fane, move and appear. Present yourselves to him who sustaineth the rottenness of the mind, that moves the gibbering mouth that mocks the just and strong. Rend that gaggling tongue and close his throat, O Kali. Pierce his lungs with the stings of scorpions, O Sekhmet. Plunge his substance into the dismal void, O mighty Dagon. I thrust aloft the bifid barb of hell, and on its tines resplendently impale my sacrifice through vengeance rests. Shemham Korash.
Shemham Korash.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
This is JJ from Once Somerville. Thanks so much for being here. It's great to see you. What you're about to enjoy is some special content created just for you by the Once family. We appreciate the time that the artists have given, and we've put a link to their tip jar in the comments below. We've also put a link there to our GoFundMe. This is one of the ways that we're going to get through this time until we can be open and together again. Art and community are our priorities here at Once. We really miss you. And we can't wait until we can all be back together. Until then, this is our way of holding our community close and continuing to make art. So, before you enjoy the show, a couple of notes. The bathrooms are in the back. On the left, no flash photography, and as always, no crowd surfing. Enjoy. We'll see you soon.
Oh, hello. How are you? Sorry about that. I was in the middle of something. I'm Adam Ostrovsky, the Satanic Chef, and welcome to my Satanic Kitchen. Satanic virtual kitchen, that is. Thank you for tuning in to Once Somerville's virtual series, which will go to helping them get through this terrible pandemic. Today I'm going to be cooking a wonderful spinach gemelli pasta dish with fresh shiitake mushrooms from Codman Farms in Lincoln, Mass, as well as some oyster mushrooms. We'll also get some beautiful spinach from Maine, as well as some parsley from California, some dried porcinis, some cultured butter from Vermont, which is also local, as well as this gemelli pasta, which happens to be from Dino's Pasta here in Somerville, Massachusetts, as well as some local cheese. I will go through step by step on how to make this simple yet effective dish, and I would hope that afterwards you would make a donation to Once Somerville and Black Lives Matter. Hail Satan. You're probably wondering about all this beautiful artwork that I have behind me. Well, it's funny. I chose this specifically because it means a lot to me. Alex Corey, who happens to be the gallery director at the Satanic Temple on 64 Bridge Street in Salem, designed this. He gave this to me at one of my Devil's Dinners that I did as a reward. It is one of my favorite possessions. He is an amazing painter, and you can go find him on Instagram at Lex Corey. Behind me as well, we have a print by a Salem artist who just moved to Chicago by the name of Bill Christophy. I bought this from him directly at a market that he was at, and it is one of my favorite paint prints that I actually have. As you can see, there's many witches and a little demon over there. His artwork is very, very intense, and he's worked with artists such as Chelsea Wolfe. He is phenomenal. You should definitely look him up. Behind me is a couple of paintings. This is done by an artist by the name of Stephen Kassner. Stephen Kassner was an understudy of H.R. Geiger, the man who designed the Alien from the Alien movies. He also had designed the movie Dune and many other things. Stephen Kassner, who passed away recently in December, he drew this for me personally, and it's probably of a sad demon with an umbrella over his head and a little inverted cross. Now, I love this painting. It means a lot to me. Stephen sold this to me in 2007. It is, of course, of a witch. Stephen Kassner is famous in Satanism because of the fact that Anton LaVey, who founded the Church of Satan, befriended Stephen Kassner. He had said that his images looked a lot like his dreams. This candle is actually from Salem, Massachusetts, at a place called Witch City Wicks. And this is a Black Lodge candle, which happens to be from a TV show Twin Peaks, which was directed by David Lynch. This two-headed cow I bought in San Francisco in 2012. I got this after, well, let's say an incident in Satanism that remains untold. It is probably not real, but it is definitely one of my favorite things to own. You can also see these little trinkets around the table. These are all done by a man named Thomas, who lives in Los Angeles. His company goes by the name of The Black Broom. You can find them on Instagram at The Black Broom. He also has an eBay page. If you go to The Black Broom's Instagram, it will take you to a link where you can purchase most of his items. Now, while my water starts to broil, so we can cook this pasta, I also have something on the stove that needs some attention. This happens to be a mixture of dried porcini mushrooms that you can see here and some of the Codman Farm shiitake mushrooms. It has been given a bath in vegetable stock and also has garlic cloves in it. We're going to bring this up to a simmer right now. I'm going to teach you how to cook mushrooms the proper way. You simply take some salt. Right now I'm using some sea salt, which is Malden sea salt. It is almost looks like crystal meth, pretty much, but it's fucking delicious. I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a bath and blood. Make a little more salt. Take some of this Aleppo pepper from San Francisco, and I'll just mix it up with my hands very quickly. And I'm going to put it in this oven at 395. While that's working, before you cook them, and you need to soak them and drain them. The reason why is a lot of them retain things like dirt or sand. And when you're on a date or on your social distancing picnic, you do not want the other person to, well, be eating sand, or you don't want your mother, perhaps, to be eating sand, or yourself, because eating sand sucks and it ruins everything for everybody. I'm going to take my pasta and I'm going to put it into the water. just as is. And when the mushrooms are done, your pasta will be done. So that's the good news of things. It looks like our porcini mushrooms are about done. Just going to be taking a little bit of this pasta water and incorporating it to it. So we'll bring out some of the starches from the pasta itself. Sometimes pieces of burnt Bible, which probably would taste like shit, so we're going to throw that back in here. Just give it a nice little cover. And we're going to turn that off. As the pasta cooks, we're going to continuously check it by taking a spoon and stirring it around as such. Make sure you hold your pot with some kind of a rag. I make my own out of old black t-shirts that I don't need anymore. Sometimes I just rip them off like Hulk Hogan. That will be on another video. And you definitely want to be taking your pasta and mixing it around. The reason for that is because you do not want your pasta to stick together. Your pasta sticks together, it fucking burns. And what does it burn like? Well, you might ask. How about, like, pretend this is your pasta. Pretend it's at the bottom of everything. That's what's going to happen to your pasta. It is going to burn like this piece of fucking Bible. So, while we wait for this pasta to cook, which should take about 6 to 7 minutes, and we definitely want to cook it al dente, which means kind of done, but not done. Definitely got a little crunch to it. And you definitely want to do this with your hands when you talk about al dente. Now our mushrooms are fully cooked, so are our porcini mushrooms. I'm going to put on my apron now because I do not want to get this nice Tiger King leopard print dirty. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my satanic kitchen. Lots of things have happened. I found this apron and man, this thing is fucking cool. It's still a little dirty because, you know, leather is fucking hard to clean. This apron was designed by a man named Edwin Haynes. Edwin owns a company called Sav Noir, which are out of Los Angeles. He's designed clothes for Lil Nas X, Adam Lambert, Marilyn Manson, and he put the custom Satanic Chef logo on there. Now, this ain't no fashion show, so let's get back to work, shall we? I'll just take my Bible, put it right there, you know, on the hot stove, move it out of the way. I'm going to take some of my puree. I'm going to put it into this pot right now. I'm sorry, I'm going to be putting it into a blender, not a pot. Pot will be something that I smoke after this. Definitely going to add the rest of those juices as such. I'm going to take a little of this pasta water, which seems to be almost done. Just top it off. As so. Put it on the top. I'm going to check my pasta right now. Definitely need a little more time. Dried pasta is a lot harder to cook than, you know, fresh pasta. I'm going to take my Vermont cultured butter. I'm going to add maybe half of that. I'm going to put it right in here. Put the lid on my ancient blender. Back in the day when I used to drink, I never made a motherfucking margarita on this thing. Hell motherfucking no. Smoothies, baby. Turn it on. Let all that blend together. Stop it as it is. Usually when making a sauce, you want to make an emulsion, which is the perfect blending of, well, liquid to fat. I'm doing something very similar here. I pretty much took butter, that porcini mushroom blend, and I emulsified it. I think it's about time we start cooking our pasta since it's pretty much done. Just gonna, get this flame going. Maybe, make it a little hotter underneath. A little bit of that, I'm gonna take my pot here. Take a little of this pasta water and put it in as such. Now, what is the right amount of pasta water you want to put into a pot before you start making a sauce? The answer is enough to cover the bottom. Whoa, look at that fire we got going on there. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Somebody's on fire. I'm going to take the rest of my pasta and just put it in the water. You're probably wondering why I did not decide to strain this completely. Because I don't work like that. You want to be able to keep this nice starchy water on hand at all times. Now you could strain it all together and that would ruin everything. Check on our mushrooms. And those are perfect, nice and cooked. As you can see, place them down on my cutting board. I'm going to take my mushrooms. I'm going to add them right into my pasta. Last but not least, I'm going to take a little bit of butter. The starches from the pasta, the butter, the mushrooms. This is all going to make an awesome motherfucking sauce. I'm going to pour some of this right over it, some of this deliciousness. And if you could smell this, yeah, you be eating that shit. Just slide this down like this. Take a look over here. And right now I'm just simply incorporating all this into my pasta. I'm going to take my spinach, I'm just going to put it right in there in this cool satanic bowl that might have been made by somebody that I don't talk to anymore. And last but not least, I'm going to take a little bit of this grated Parmesan cheese. Just going to add it in. And there you have it. Fresh spinach gemelli pasta with local shiitake mushrooms and oyster mushrooms with Parmesan, porcini mushroom cream, and a little bit of herbs. Thank you guys for watching my video. You can make a donation to Once Somerville. You can also make a donation to Black Lives Matter. Make sure you follow Once Somerville on Instagram, and you follow me on Instagram as well at The Satanic Chef. Thank you very much. Hail Satan.
Thank you so much, Adam. That was great. Wow. I actually laughed out loud during several moments of that video. I'm glad I was muted, but I'm curious actually, how did you come up with the whole Satanic Chef thing? Like, how did you get into cooking and then the Satanic Temple? I'm curious.
The Satanic Chef thing, actually, came up with the idea back in 2001, I believe. And I was like, I'm going to become a satanic chef. And then I had no experience. So as soon as I started working in the industry, like professionally, I just never had time to do it until the older I got. And my old roommate, he goes by the pseudonym of Lucian Greaves. He started the Satanic Temple, and the original idea was that before it even started, we were going to start a satanic soup kitchen, but that didn't happen. So we went with the idea of the Satanic Chef for a later thing, and I've been doing dinners through them, and they've been publishing recipes of mine, including, you can read this recipe in the next newsletter that comes out. You have to go to satanictemple.com and sign up, and you'll get a newsletter with the recipe on how to make this at home.
Sweet. Did you invent the recipe yourself?
I worked with a chef named Tony Susi who made a similar dish, and he taught me various techniques of making pasta, and this is kind of a reflection on my time working with him. And he was a very, very good teacher, very good friend of mine.
Cool. And is that how you usually come up with a new dish? Like kind of riff on something you learn how to do? Or what's the usual process for creating a dish?
I don't know. It just kind of comes to me based on whatever's available. I had a ton of porcini mushrooms, so I wanted to make a porcini mushroom sauce, and shiitakes are in season right now, so I got a bunch of shiitakes, and I saw this really cool gemelli pasta and some local spinach that was being grown up at Codman Farms in Lincoln, so I bought that, and later that day I just made the dish. So it was really that morning I came up with the idea.
Cool. And can you tell me a little bit more about like how you got into the industry? Because you mentioned you've been working in it for a very long time.
I started cooking when I was 15 at D'Angelo's, believe it or not. And I do that for every summer. And that was back in the 90s. That was a lot of fun. And then I ended up going to school for photography. My college closed. I ended up going to Newbury College, and while I was there, I got hit by a car, broke my leg in several places. And while I was recovering, that's when I was watching tons of the Food Network and Goodfellas, in that scene where they were cutting up garlic in the prison and making it tomato sauce. It actually made me get out of my bed and start cooking. So I was really into Satanism at the time, and I came up with this idea that I'd be like the Satanic Chef once I got better. But, you know, of course, that doesn't happen overnight. It takes time.
That's so cool. Like, I mean, it's so amazing to have like a concept in mind for so long, and then you're like, nope, I'm ready. I'm gonna be that thing. Like, that must have been awesome. Yeah, like when did that come together? When were you like, I'm ready, I'm the Satanic Chef now? Like,
I don't know. I say I really was able to execute it probably when I was 36. I had tried different variations of it here and there. I had worked with a production company out of Los Angeles and closely with a producer by the name of Kim Fowley. He created The Runaways, and we had this idea.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
We were going to come up with the Satanic Chef in 2014 in a way that he was going to introduce me to all these. He had this idea that he was going to introduce me as a rock and roll chef, and then have me come out as a Satanic Chef, and freak out all the conservative investors that we had and create controversy. But I mean, that obviously didn't happen.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It was really funny.
Do you still think about doing a cooking show, perhaps? Or do you do one already?
I've filmed some things for a cooking show, and there is a production company that's supposedly working on it right now.
Sweet.
It will be publicized on the Satanic Temple TV, which is tsttv.it, I believe. And it'll be up on there eventually soon. And we've been talking about doing live streams like this as well.
Sweet. Well, I'll have to check that out for sure. Okay, I made a huge list of questions, so it's gonna be kind of random. I'm sorry. But one of them that I was really curious about is, do you have a favorite food, and what is it to cook or to eat?
Definitely, I love cooking mushrooms. I love the taste of them, the flavor of them. I could eat them if meat got taken away from me. I just love them.
Just regular mushrooms or like the magical variety?
Regular, but nobody knows about the other one.
That's fair. Good answer. Oh yeah, what's the weirdest job you've ever had? Or the weirdest thing to happen on the job?
The weirdest job I ever had was probably when I worked at a gas station. And they encouraged us to take a shopping bag and basically go shopping at the end of the night. They did not care. The whole store was there as like a way to bring customers in and buy gas. They were not worried about losing money in the store at all at the time. It was so strange.
Oh, that sounds fun. You can stock up on slushies and snacks, though.
It's pretty much all I did.
That's cool.
I was also a Lyft driver for a while, and that was pretty interesting. But
yeah, that must be interesting.
That was very interesting. That was like, I hurt my back and I didn't cook for a couple months, so I had to do that, and met some characters.
I bet. And it sounds as though you live in Salem. Is that correct?
No, I live in.
You have ties to Salem somehow.
I live in the Boston area.
Oh, okay. Because you were mentioning a lot of artists from Salem. I was like, oh, okay. I should ask Adam about Salem and stuff.
I'm there quite frequently, at least
cool.
Once a week now.
Pretend we're back to, normal, or but in the before times. Where was your favorite place to hang in Salem?
Well, the Satanic Temple at 64 Bridge Street. When we reopen, you should come. It'll be a lot.
Be awesome. I'm not in Salem too much, but I played at the sushi place, Kodo. Like, we always just spend whatever we make on sushi. Like, it's like total wash. But so yeah, fun. Always good times once you find parking.
Yeah, and you get to eat sushi and hear bands. And...
Yeah, I really miss it. Though I saw some restaurants were starting to open outdoors. I was walking around.
That should be interesting. It's going to be really hard for restaurants when they reopen. I think they can only do about 20% capacity until the pandemic is over.
Yeah, I heard that as well. Yeah.
It's going to be rough, and hopefully some bailout comes through for a lot of restaurants. Hopefully we'll pass another bill soon.
Yeah, no, I know everyone's missing it though. Like, I mean, it's one of the first things I want to do once I finish this week. So this is like my first week having to go back to work more frequently. So I'm like ready for it to be done. But I actually wanted to know, because I'm a scientist, so I want to know about your research idea, if you had it like formulated a little more, because you mentioned that in the sort of the load in.
I had met a couple times while I was kind of formulating the idea of the Devil's Dinner and pop-ups that I was doing on the side, funding money to the Depression Clinical Research Group at Mass General. and they have them they have like probably the biggest psychiatry ward in the world.
Yeah.
And I was talking to them about throwing the idea out about trying to get something for restaurant industry people to deal with their specific PTSDs and whatnot, because the industry can be a tough place, and it can get pretty dark for people, especially people that don't have insurance. So I was really trying to raise money through them to also get people that didn't have insurance free counseling and therapy.
Oh, that's such a good idea. I think like even just the sleep cycle, like being so different, like, just as someone who has not had an experience being in the industry, like I can imagine just simply the sleep cycle would have a huge effect
Huge
um,
effect. You
on
live
mental health.
like a vampire sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we're so geared toward this way of life. It's like to go against the body's natural clock has some consequences, I think. Though I try to forget about that as I used to go out to shows all the time. But yeah, things are different now, obviously.
It's pretty
Uh,
different.
yeah, I was gonna ask, what's your favorite soundtrack for cooking?
I really don't know the answer to that. Soundtrack for cooking, does it have to be a soundtrack? Or,
Oh no, just like, do you have a theme song for cooking?
I mean, the soundtrack to The Room, the movie.
I love that movie. Laughing at it.
I actually own the soundtrack, and I do put it on when I go.
Nice. And what would you say would be your advice to someone who wants to, you know, make food for a couple close friends? Like, what's some easy go-to things?
I would say start small, like do something like a salad. Try not to, to go too crazy, and do something that's in your skill set, because you don't want to embarrass yourself by burning something or overcooking something. So probably I'd say braising things is really good to do, like making short ribs. That's something that you really can just throw in the oven at a low temperature and take out a couple hours later, and they're done. You could do a lasagna. That is really hard to mess up. You put it at a low temp, put cheese on the top with more sauce, blast it in the oven, and it's done. And like salads, those are pretty simple to make. I would suggest people try and learn basic skills like knife skills. That's very important. Or even to cook an egg properly. Like in culinary school, they make you learn how to cook a French omelet. And that's a part of your curriculum that you have to like pass to get to the next step. And I think cooking eggs is really important. A lot of cooks that I've met that talked a lot, they get to a certain level and they just can't cook an egg. So start small and then get big.
Sweet. I will keep that in mind. And finally, what would be on the menu for, the Last Supper?
Oh, definitely pizza. We're talking about like good pizza, no thick crust. Definitely gonna have some Detroit style in there. We can throw some New England style Greek pizzas in there, and none of the California pizzas. I'm sorry, California. None of the round
On
cake.
the pizza.
I mean, all pizza, really.
Sweet. Well, I think I got through most of my questions. If anyone else has a question, feel free to type it into the chat. I don't know if I have the power to unmute people.
I think everybody's all set.
Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you.
And I hope we can meet in real life someday. And I can eat some pasta with a side of Bible burning.
Hopefully I'll get more videos done so everybody can enjoy more.
Sweet. Well, I'm inspired to get cooking, so thanks again.
You're welcome. And you guys can reach out to me on Instagram and ask me questions if you would like. Or yeah.
Sweet.
Thank you so much. And thank you to Once for having me. And
Yeah,
you were
thanks
awesome as
to
well.
Once. Everybody check out the Once GoFundMe page and see you again soon.
Yep, everybody, and also donate to Black Lives Matter if you can.
Definitely.
Right.